Good afternoon, my dear friends, my dear students. Today, I am going to discuss about the various forms of application of chlorine. Yesterday, we have discussed about the minor methods of chlorination and major methods of chlorination. So, these various forms of application of chlorine is coming under the major method of chlorination. So, for major method of chlorination, what are the various forms of application of the chlorine that we are going to study? Two things we are studying. One is various forms of application of chlorine, and second one we are going to study is types of chlorination. So, what are different types of chlorination? So, these two part I am going to cover today in this session, and in fact we are in still continuation of the major method of chlorination only. So this is a part of the major method of chlorination. As I already told you that the major method of chlorination is widely adopted throughout the world. Hence the detailed study of this is required for us. So under that, various forms of application of chlorine. So how the chlorine is applied to the water for disinfection process. Now first one is as a free chlorine. The chlorine is applied in two methods. One is by as a free chlorine. So that is in the form of liquid chlorine or as chlorine gas. First one. So first one is just see as a free chlorine in the form of liquid chlorine or as a chlorine gas. And second one, that is as combined chlorine. Since as a combined chlorine means here again two sub methods are there. One is in the form of hypochlorite or bleaching powder, and second one is in the form of chloramines, that is a mixture of ammonia and chlorine. So these two methods are there. So totally in fact if we see there are three methods. So one method is free chlorine, other two methods are combined chlorine as combined chlorine. But out of these two, okay, and a third method is also there, that is in the form of chlorine dioxide. So out of all these methods, if you count here 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 methods. So out of these 4 methods, okay, then what type of method is mostly adopted is the first method, that is as a free chlorine. So that is in the form of liquid chlorine gas as a chlorine gas, okay. So this one is used. So liquid chlorine as a gas it is used. So let us discuss that part in detail. So out of all these methods, first method most commonly adopted in all water treatment plants. So application of chlorine in this form is discussed now below. So let us discuss about that. So what is that? Look here. So use of chlorine as liquid chlorine or chlorine gas. So the molecular, so the molecular chlorine can be carried and applied to the water to be treated either in a liquid form or in a gaseous form. The liquid form is generally preferred and almost exclusively used these days. So chlorine in its gaseous form is greenish yellow gas, about 2 times heavier than air, and gets dissolved in water. So if it is in gaseous form, it has more weight as compared to the water, heavier than air, and it easily dissolved in the water, okay. So maximum solubility being 1% at 10 degrees centigrade. So what is the maximum solubility? It is 1% at 10 degrees centigrade of water, and which reduces to 0.61 percentage at about 40 degrees centigrade of water. So if the water temperature is high, then solubility is reducing. So one thing is clear here, isn't it? So that means in cold water solubility is more, percentage is more, and in hot water solubility percentage is less. You see, in cold water, that is 10 degree means, of course you can say it is a not 0 degree means, but 10 degree means below, generally 20 degree centigrade water will be cold only. So at 10 degree centigrade means in cold water, which reduces to the 0.1%, okay. And if the temperature goes on increasing up to 40 degrees centigrade, it reduces to 0.61 percentage. Okay. So gaseous form of the chlorine gets converted into liquid form when subjected to a pressure of about 700 kilonewton per meter. So the exact amount of the pressure required for this conversion will of course depend on the temperature. Again, pressure required is depending on the temperature of the water. So the liquid chlorine so formed is an amber color oily fluid which is 1.5 times heavier than water. So liquid chlorine is 1.5 times heavier than water. Okay, and this generally available in steel cylinders. So this liquid chlorine is stored in the steel cylinders and kept in the water treatment plant at the last stage. And generally, if you visit the water treatment plant, you will see there also how their cylinders are placed, how what the chlorine is mixed, everything can be easily understood over there once you visit there. But I don't think this time we can have visit to the water treatment plant. So, but one thing is sure, we can just go through some videos in YouTube, and you will understand all these processes very well. It is not necessary that we have to visit to the site only. Some videos are available on YouTube also. If I find them, I will definitely forward you for understanding purpose. Okay. So the pressure, what is the pressure? And the generally available in steel cylinder, that is what is the steel cylinder? That is steel cylinders are weighing about 50, the gases containing 50 to 100 kg under the pressure of 700 to 1000 kg per square meter. So this gas is stored in the liquid form in the cylinders, and chlorine is applied to the water to be treated through an instrument called chlorinator. So there is a specific instrument which is made available in the water treatment plant. By using that instrument, the chlorine is applied to the water. So solution feed chlorinators using liquid chlorine are almost invariably used these days. An ordinary solution feed chlorinator takes the liquid chlorine from the container, meters it, and mixes it with a small amount of water to form a strong chlorine solution. So this is the procedure how it is being done. So this solution is fed into the distribution by means of water injector. So one thing you understand, so the cylinders are provided as I have said. So cylinders are weighing 50 to 100 kg gas into it, and it will be under the pressure 700 to 1000 kg per square meter. So under that pressure it will be stored and it is fed through the meters. So some meters are available or the instrument is available. So chlorine is supplied to the water. So this is how the forms of chlorination. So what are the forms of chlorination? Forms of application of chlorine. Forms of application of chlorine. Once again we will revise it. Okay. These are the forms of chlorination. So that is as a free chlorine, that is in the form of liquid chlorine or as a chlorine gas, and in the form of hypochlorite or bleaching powder. That means here combination. And second one is in the form of chloramines, that is mixture of ammonia and chlorine. So here when the chlorine is mixed with ammonia, it makes the reaction with ammonia and forms the chloramines. So yesterday we had discussed here chloramines, that is monochloramine, dichloramine and trichloramine. All these are reduced and they are working in the water under different pH value of the water, so that for effectively killing the bacteria. So this form is useful. And third one is that is in the form of chlorine dioxide. So even chlorine dioxide is also directly added. So these things are used here if the water which is treated is still containing more bacteria or more contamination. But once then when it is lost, then the first method, that is in the form of chlorine, liquid chlorine or chlorine gas is enough for us. So that's why I have discussed more in more detail about the first method. So after application, that is after the various forms of application of chlorine, now let us see what are the types of chlorination. So types of chlorination. So in types of chlorination there are about 6-7 type of chlorination. So let us see what are those 6-7 type of chlorination. First one is plain chlorination, and second one is pre-chlorination, third one is post-chlorination, fourth one is double chlorination, fifth one is breakpoint chlorination, sixth one is super chlorination, and seventh and last one is dechlorination. So these are different types of chlorination. Okay. So out of all these things, let us discuss in brief. In fact, all are important as far as your syllabus is concerned, and as far as examination point of view, these all must be known to you. So you must write the answer to questions if it is asked in the examination. So you have to write in brief, not in very detail. So in brief. So what are the, let us discuss now. So plain chlorination. First one is plain chlorination. So what is plain chlorination? So here this term is used to indicate that only the chlorine treatment and no other treatment has been given to the raw water. So plain chlorination means no other treatment is given to the raw water, only chlorination is being done. So here very little contamination of the water is there. So for little quantity of water is there and little contamination of water is there, in such case plain chlorination will be done. Okay. No other treatment is, again, what are the other treatment? Aeration, filtration, sedimentation, and all these treatments are there. So plain chlorination means all other treatments are not essential because water may not be containing much bacteria. So in such cases plain chlorination will be done and it will be used. So under plain chlorination, raw water is fed into the distribution system after giving chlorine treatment only. Okay, here only chlorine treatment is given, no other treatment is given. This helps in removing bacteria, organic matter and color from the raw water. Okay, directly raw water will be added with chlorine and distributed. So this is generally done in villages and gram panchayat areas where the water is not much contaminated by industrial pollution, and only little quantity of water is there, and it is not possible to establish the major treatment method in the village because it depends on so many factors. Fund availability is required, okay, and revenue is required. So for that purpose, the only plain chlorination will be practiced in rural sites. So this helps in removing bacteria, organic matter and color from raw water. This technique may be used for treating relatively clearer waters, lakes, reservoirs, wells, etc. So relatively clearer water is there. In such case, only plain chlorination will be done. No sedimentation, no filtration, and no aeration, no screening will be done. Only chlorination. So that is called plain chlorination. So this is used for particular one type of chlorination. And next one is pre-chlorination. Let us see what is the second method, that is pre-chlorination, this type. So in pre-chlorination, what you can understand here, pre itself is indicating this process of applying chlorine to the water before filtration. So this chlorination will be done in case of the major method of treatment of water. So it comes under the major method of treatment of water. So what is major method? In major method, all these processes, that is screening, aeration, sedimentation, filtration, all these things are done. So this is called major method of chlorination. So major method of treatment, there pre-chlorination will be done. So what is that? Pre-chlorination is the process of applying chlorine to the water before filtration, or rather before sedimentation, coagulation. It helps in improving coagulation and reduces the loads on the filters. Okay, it also reduces the taste, odor, algae and organisms. The chlorine dose should be such that about 0.1 to 0.5 milligram per liter of residual chlorine is there. Okay, so that what is that? The chlorine dose must be 0.1 to 0.5 milligram per liter of residual chlorine. So here what is residual chlorine? I will explain you later. Residual chlorine means after mixing the chlorine to the water, after adding chlorine to the water, the major portion of the chlorine will be utilized for the purpose of the oxidation of the organic matter and the reaction with the ammonia present in water. And after all those things, the residual chlorine or free chlorine will be available. That chlorine must be 0.5 to 0.5 milligram. So the chlorine dose should be such that 0.1 to 0.5 milligram per liter of the residual chlorine must be available. Do you understand? It is not dose actually. Dose must be such that after reaction 0.1 or 0.1 to 0.5 milligram per liter must be available in the water. That is the dose. So, but what is the normal dose then? The normal required dose are as high as 5 to 10 milligram per liter. So, dose will be 5 to 10 milligram per liter. If you apply 5 to 10 milligram per liter, but it should see that residual chlorine must be 0.1 to 0.5 milligram per liter. Okay, this is called pre-chlorination. So one thing, what is the important point here to remember? Pre-chlorination means which will be done before sedimentation or before filtration, isn't it? It will be done before sedimentation or before filtration. So that is called pre-chlorination. So after this, next term comes post-chlorination. Now you see what is the difference between them. So post-chlorination means this is the chlorination, okay, used at the last. So after completing all other treatment processes, that is that after completing aeration, sedimentation, filtration, and last will be chlorination. So that last chlorination is called as post-chlorination. So in water, this is commonly adopted. Post-chlorination or sometimes simply called chlorination is the normal standard process of applying chlorine in the end. In the end means this will be in water treatment plant. So last process is the post-chlorination. Okay. So while treating the normal public supplies, the post-chlorination is adopted after filtration and before the water enters the distribution system. The dosage of the chlorine should be such that to leave a residual chlorine of about 0.1 to 0.2 milligram per liter. So, but in any case, the residual chlorine must not be exceeding 0.2 milligram per liter. That is the case. So, after a contact period of about 20 minutes. So, generally chlorine will be supplied to the water and it is left for 20 minutes for full spread in the water. And after that, if the residual chlorine is checked, it must not be more than 0.2 milligram per liter. So, this residual chlorine is very important. So, residual chlorine means after using the whatever chlorine supplied to the water, after using whatever the chlorine freely available in the water is called residual chlorine. Okay. So, this residual will ensure the disinfection of water if at all in any future recontamination occurs. So, for future recontamination, this residual chlorine is to be required. Now next type we will see what is called as double chlorination. Double chlorination means here both the chlorination are done, that is pre-chlorination as well as the post-chlorination. So what I have told, pre-chlorination will be done before sedimentation or before filtration, and post-chlorination will be done after filtration, which is the last process of the water treatment plant. So pre and post both will be done. In such case, it is called as double chlorination. So fourth one is double chlorination. The term double chlorination used to indicate that the water has been chlorinated twice. The pre-chlorination and the post-chlorination are generally used in double chlorination. Post-chlorination, however, is generally always used, while the pre-chlorination is also used when the waters are highly turbid and contaminated. So this method is adopted when the water is highly turbid or contaminated. So this type of, so if there is more contamination and more turbidity in water, so double chlorination will be done. So some bacteria will be killed before that in pre-chlorination, and remaining bacteria will be killed in the post-chlorination. Since the double chlorination uses pre-chlorination prior to the normal post-chlorination, its advantages are the same as those of the pre-chlorination. So advantage will be same. So post-chlorination advantage and pre-chlorination advantage both are same. But only thing, 2 times treatment will give the more security, okay, more advantage. So this is all about the double chlorination. So it will be generally done in rainy season only if the water is very contaminated and more turbidity is there. Along with turbidity, the what is called biological impurities, that is bacteria and virus, will be more in the water. To avoid that, double chlorination will be adopted to have better security. So now the safety, not safety is important. So more safety, the double chlorination. Now let us see next one is fifth one, that is breakpoint chlorination. So this is important as far as this part is out of all these methods. Okay, this breakpoint chlorination plays very important role. So what is breakpoint chlorination? Now you just go through here. When chlorine is added to the water, it first of all reacts with the ammonia present in the water. Okay. So first method what I had told. So when chlorine is added to the water, it first of all reacts with the ammonia present in the water so as to form chloramines. That means the major part of the chlorine added to the water will be used in reaction with ammonia and killing the bacteria. So soon after adding the chlorine to the water, it first reacts with the ammonia present in the water, and thus the amount of residual chlorine will be less. So what is here is, I'll explain this phenomena with the help of graph only so that you will understand. Generally what happens once you add the chlorine in the water, so some other impurities just like ammonia and organic matter, bacteria, all are there in water. So initially the ammonia utilizes the water. So that means ammonia utilizes the chlorine. Chlorine first reacts with the ammonia and forms the chloramines, isn't it? I have told you that is monochloramine, dichloramine. Yesterday we have discussed. Once the chlorine reacts with the ammonia, the monochloramine, dichloramine, trichloramine, all these things are formed, and these are required for the killing of the bacteria. So all these three chloramines are acting in different pH values. Yesterday we had discussed. Once again you can refer if you want. So that is monochloramine acting under 7 pH, and dichloramine in between 5 to 6.5, and trichloramine 4 and below, like that it is acting. So see, these first, when the chlorine is added to the water, it reacts with the ammonia first, and while ammonia is utilizing the more chlorine, that means, isn't it? So whatever chlorine added, major portion of the chlorine is utilized by the ammonia to form the chloramines. So therefore residual chlorine, that is free chlorine available, is very less. And then once the ammonia is complete, the reaction is completed, then the free chlorine available will be, reaction will be started by the organic substance present in the water. So I will better way explain with the help of graph. Let us see that graph. So in the graph you will understand better way. So it is here. So this is the figure indicating breakpoint chlorination. First you look here, look this graph. So here in this graph what I am showing is, a graph is drawn. So horizontally it is applied, that is applied chlorine versus residual chlorine. So graph is applied chlorine versus residual chlorine. So along x direction it is applied chlorine, that is in milligram per liter, and along y direction, that is vertical, it is residual chlorine in milligram per liter. Okay. So now the applied chlorine and residual chlorine are compared here. So in this graph you can see, first one you will see one dotted line is shown. So this dotted line it is what it is. It is imaginary line which will appear when there is no chlorine consumption, that is for pure water. Okay. So if it is pure water, whatever chlorine added, that is horizontal direction, it is a chlorine applied, that is added chlorine, and vertical direction it is residual chlorine. So once you add the chlorine, dotted line indicating at 45 degrees that if it is pure water, there is no ammonia, there is no bacteria, there is no organic matter, therefore whatever chlorine you apply, that whole thing is available as a residual chlorine. So that dotted line is indicating that there is no consumption of chlorine for the reaction. So whatever you add, so for example, first line if you 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 like that. So all these lines you consider as 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. Okay. So even vertical also you can consider residual chlorine will be 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 if you consider it. So whatever if you add 0.1 chlorine apply, then residual chlorine will be available 0.1 only if it is water, pure water. And if you apply 0.2 chlorine, then the residual chlorine will be 0.2 only. So that indicates the dotted line. So dotted line is for pure water. But generally all waters are not pure. So therefore the other curved line is shown. You see curved line starting from A up to B and from B to C, and C again further a straight line is there. So here what is the break point? Here C is indicated as a break point. So I just want to explain more about the break point. So what is break point? I am explaining. So why this is called break point? So what I have told is once the chlorine is added in the water, there must be a free chlorine available minimum for 0.2 milligram per liter. Okay. So here once the chlorine is added from A to B, what is happening? You just see. Okay, break point chlorination, just see. So when the chlorine is added to the water, it first of all reacts with the ammonia present in the water so as to form chloramines. That means, okay, in the graph you see from A and continue up to B, from A continue up to point B, it is the line indicating that whatever applied chlorine is utilized by the ammonia. So ammonia reaction from A to B, ammonia is taken, chlorine ammonia reaction is taken place, and now up to B, ammonia is finished. So ammonia is completed, and from B to C what is happening is, and beyond B, okay, beyond B up to C what is happening is organic matter is consumed. So more chlorine is consumed by the organic matter from B to C. So therefore it is dropping down. So that means the amount of the residual chlorine will be less. In graph, the process start from A and continue up to point B. Beyond point B, major chlorine is again consumed for oxidation of the organic matter present in the water. Do you understand? So for oxidation of the major, okay, organic matter present in the water is consumed. So it is consumption is more. So therefore it is a drop from B to Z. So one thing you remember, from A to B, ammonia consumption, and B to C, oxidation of the organic matter. And after completion of organic matter oxidation, now there is no further chlorine required for the any action. So therefore whatever chlorine available is free chlorine. So from C, it is a straight line at an angle of 45 degree. You just see, therefore the residual chlorine content suddenly falls down up to C, and after that, after C, it is again increasing, okay, it's up, and it is straight line making an angle of 45 degree. So what it is written here, any additional of chlorine appearing equally as free residual chlorine. So from C, whatever chlorine you add, so up to C means, so after C, whatever quantity you added here, up to C, what it may be, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, if you go on count. See, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So up to here, see, if I count the lines, it is 8th line. So 8th line means, for example, 0.8. So whatever the chlorine add after this, that chlorine will be available as a free chlorine. Okay. So that particular point is called as break point chlorination. So what is that? Then the C point, the point C is the point C is the point beyond which any further addition of the chlorine will appear equally as free chlorine. So this point C is therefore called as the break point. So break point chlorination. So whatever chlorination we are doing for the water now, according to this theory we are doing it. So in the water treatment plant is also the same theory is applied. So what type of chlorination applied? In general, it is break point chlorination. It is post chlorination, and that too, what is method? That is break point chlorination. So simply adding chlorination not there. So we have to measure it and add it. So this is all about the break point. So therefore, thus the break point chlorination is the term which gives us an idea of the extent of the chlorine added to the water. So below it is written, you can see. Therefore, the breakpoint chlorination is a term which gives us an idea of the extent of chlorine added to the water. In fact, it represents that the much dose of chlorination beyond which any further addition of the chlorine will appear as free residual chlorine. So after that, we should not add much chlorine. If you add it, it will be more. So what we require, we have to add chlorine such that the horizontal line is shown, horizontal line at C. So it should be only that much chlorine available in the water freely. So this is called free residual. So beyond which any further addition of the chlorine will be appear as a free residual chlorine. So that care must be taken. So this is breakpoint chlorination, which is commonly adopted in case of the all water treatment plants, where this breakpoint chlorination is important as far as possible. And last one, sixth one, that is superchlorination. What is superchlorination? That we shall see. In fact, superchlorination is nothing but more chlorination. Okay, it is a term. Superchlorination is a term which indicates the addition of the excessive amount of the chlorine, that is 5 to 10 milligram per liter to water. Okay, so 5 to 10 milligram per 5 to 15 milligram per liter water is excess is added to the water. So this may be required in some special cases. This is required in some special cases, not all the time, because if the again one thing is, if the water is contamination more. So two possibilities are, if water contamination or turbid water is there, then two methods can be done. One method is either you apply superchlorination or you apply pre-chlorination as well as post-chlorination, that is double chlorination. So you select any, you choose any one, whether superchlorination is required, whether double chlorination is required. So there is choice, double chlorination may be done or superchlorination may be done. So if there is no prior treatment of the water, so but more contamination is there, it is not possible for us to make the prior treatment such as sedimentation, okay, filtration, aeration. In such case, superchlorination is being carried out. So if there are some prior treatments are carried out, then in such case double chlorination can be done, because double chlorination means before filtration or sedimentation and after the filtration sedimentation. Double chlorination means that is pre and post chlorination. So all these different methods of chlorination are chosen depending on the condition of the water treatment process. Okay, condition of the situation and condition of the water and type of the water to be supplied and quantity of the water to be supplied. All these things are depending. So depending on all these conditions, the type of the water system, type of chlorination will be decided. So we have discussed all these types. One more type is the last one remaining. What is that? I will tell you. So here, so all these, that is plain chlorination you understood, pre-chlorination you understood, post-chlorination you understood, okay, and double chlorination you understood. What is breakpoint chlorination you understood, and last one, that is called a dechlorination. What is dechlorination? I will tell you. So dechlorination means, the word itself is suggesting us that removing the or reducing the chlorine. So dechlorination means removing the chlorine from water. Removing the chlorine from water, what? Why we have to remove? Sometimes by process excess chlorine will be added to the water, which is not good for our health. So chlorine must be limited in the water. So I have told you already that chlorine must be, the residual chlorine must be, the chlorine dose must be such that the residual chlorine must be 0.2 milligram per liter. Do you understand? So if it is more than 0.2 milligram per liter, that will be harmful to our body and health. So therefore, the dechlorination process is sometimes required if it is required. So this is generally required when superchlorination has been practiced. So here it is. So when superchlorination is practiced to kill the bacteria as far as possible, as quick as possible, superchlorination is done, and after superchlorination again dechlorination will be done. So once the bacteria and all the organic matter and ammonia is finished in that, then the chlorine will be remaining as a free chlorine will remain in more quantity, more than 2 milligram, 0.2 milligram per liter. So if the chlorine is more than, free chlorine is more than 0.2 milligram per liter, then dechlorination process requires. So the dechlorination process may either be carried out to such an extent that sufficient residual chlorine, that is 0.1 to 0.2 milligram per liter, do remain in the water after dechlorination. So dechlorination means we should not remove all the chlorination. There should be some free chlorination. So some means that is up to 2 milligram per liter chlorination. Chlorine must be available as a free chlorine in the water. So that is called dechlorination. So sulfides are granular solids which may be added to water by dry or solution feed method for dechlorination. So what is being done? The sulfides are which are granular solids, they are added to the water to reduce the chlorine quantity of the water. That means here the sulfides will react with the chlorine and they will reduce the residual chlorine content. That is it. So like this, all the types of chlorine we have studied. Okay, types of chlorines we have studied. I hope this is enough for today. It was fully theoretical but important. So out of all these things, the breakpoint chlorination is more important. The question may be asked about that also. You must be able to explain clearly what is a breakpoint chlorination with the graph. Whatever graph I have shown, the same graph must be clearly drawn, neatly drawn, and explain the process clearly. What is a breakpoint chlorination? Okay, dear students, I think with this topic is completed. That is, disinfection topic is completed. In fact, there are some simple problems on this chlorination. Here it is not possible for me to explain, but what I will do is I will solve one or two problems based on this chlorination and I will forward you by taking photograph of the solution. So they are very simple to understand. Okay, I think you have understood very well, and thank you for listening attentively. Good luck.